Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, wishing you a safe, healthy, and joyous holiday season. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm Loving It, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on prime time, with the rise of COVID cases in the past couple of days, the decision was made to delay the reopening of senior citizen centers. Plus, a warning for those who choose to violate the federal ban on cockfighting. And ahead of House impeachment vote, CNMI governor asks for unethical meet with Supreme Court justice.
Hafa and good evening, everyone. I'm Tyler Matsinani. Thanks so much for joining us. With 470 new COVID-19 cases recorded on the island since Monday, the reopening of the senior centers is being postponed until further notice. According to Mayor's Council of Guam Executive Director Angel Sablan, due to the reported increase in COVID cases, the delay was at the request of the Department of Public Health and Social Services and not the MCOG.
We are just following their recommendation, and it's due to the uptick of COVID cases. I know that our seniors are anxious to get back into, the swing of things and what we're doing in the centers and meeting their friends and having the activities. But the bottom line is we want everyone to be safe. The bottom line is we want to make sure that we don't go back into a situation where we become the spreaders instead of, saving their lives. And so in this case, we're following the recommendation of public health.
When KUAM News asked about when the island's Manumku can anticipate the reopening of senior centers, Sablan had this to say.
No, we don't, because we don't know what the future looks like. So we're just going to have to play it by ear and wait to see what happens in the next few weeks, whether or not we get worse or we get better. Hopefully we get better. But we don't want to make a date, and then when it comes to that time, we move it again. So we're just going to wait till restudy the issue and come up with the best recommendation depending on what the scenarios are.
All 12 senior centers on the island were scheduled to reopen on January 10th of 2022 after being closed for nearly 2 years during the COVID pandemic. Animal Wellness Action says they have cockfighters on the run, and there's more trouble on the way for those who violate the federal ban on fighting chickens. Here's more with Chris Barnett.
Wayne Pacelli is not going to stop. The head of Animal Wellness Action has been pleading with the governor to stop turning a blind eye to illegal cockfights on Guam, but it looks like his pleas have fallen on deaf ears. Pacelli staked out the Dedito Game Club after a schedule of cockfights for the new year went viral on WhatsApp. He says the group sent drones up over the weekend and did see activity at the Dome, but he also says he's gotten tips that cockfighters are fleeing to more secret locations.
I've got 2 very solid tips about cockfighting venues in Jigo. And we are, if it's the Dome, we want to have eyes on it. If it's the other venues throughout the territory, we want to have eyes on it there.
AWA is also offering rewards for information about illegal cockfights or animal cruelty. Pacelli says he's in contact with federal law enforcement officials and will be forwarding information to them relative to a smoking gun he says he was able to obtain.
Somebody sent us footage from a cockfight, and we are in the process of identifying the individuals there. And I think it's going to be startling when we release the details. We've got some information already.
Some senators have raised concerns about cocking on Guam, to include Senator Sabina Perez. Senator Perez telling KUAM News 2022 might be the time to revisit the local law that makes cockfighting legal despite a federal law to the contrary. Senator Joanne Brown also brought up the unregulated and unchecked large-scale gambling associated with cockfighting after Reventax Deputy Director Marie Lazama told KUAM DRT has no enforcement or collection role when it comes to cockfighting cash. Pacelli, meanwhile, is again asking island residents to say something if they see something.
I want to ask all of your listeners, if you do have information for us on illegal acts of animal cruelty, email us at animalcrueltytips@animalwellnessaction.org. That's animalcrueltytips@animalwellnessaction.org. We will follow up on every one of them.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
More companies have already signed up for the local employers assistance program than first projected. The strong interest in the LEAP program is another glaring indication of just how hard the pandemic has hit businesses, especially those in the tourism industry. Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association President Mary Rhodes.
We know a lot of businesses have been hurting. And with the challenges of even tourism being extended out through summer at this point, with airlines not coming to Guam, I know that businesses are going to be in further need. And so we can only be able to display that or to show, need for that if we have an overwhelming response. So
the LEAP program offers a forgivable loan. It becomes a grant if certain criteria are met, such as keeping employees or hiring new ones. Rhodes urges every business that believes it can qualify to apply.
Right now, we have 819 companies that have applied thus far. The award is up to, I believe, $300,000. They were considering possibly $500,000, but that was based on expecting 600 companies to apply. And so I know that they reconsidered that number because of the sheer size of the number of possible applicants.
The governor allocated $25 million of her American Rescue Plan funds for the LEAP program, and the legislature matched it with money from the general fund. Separately, the GHRA president also sought to clear up some confusion. She says restaurants are still allowed to operate at 100% capacity indoors, but any one group cannot exceed the 25-person limit.
But that doesn't mean that the restaurant or hotel needs to limit everybody, because they can have multiple reservations as long as those reservations aren't related to each other, where you're trying to bypass the maximum of 25 per group. Unfortunately for the businesses, they've had a very hard time really managing all of this, because people will try to make different reservations and work around the guideline. And so it's very difficult to police something where public health themselves have a hard time policing.
Rhodes is appealing to restaurant goers to cooperate. Businesses, she says, are just trying to comply with what the government has mandated. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The CDC has no plans to change the definition of fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But federal health officials are imploring people to get their shots and boosters. Average daily cases are up 98% over the previous week, and hospitalizations are up 63%. This comes amid some muddled messaging on isolation guidelines, a shortage of home testing kits, and skyrocketing case counts. Bradley Blackburn reports from New York.
Health officials say despite signs of reduced severity, Omicron's high transmissibility means hospitals could still be stressed.
A certain proportion of a large volume of cases, no matter what, are going to be severe.
The CDC is still emphasizing vaccination, boosters, mask wearing, and other precautions, but its revised isolation guidance is confusing to some. Infected persons do not need a negative test to end their isolation, but they can test if they want to.
That's really about availability of these rapid antigen tests. I think that kind of complicated algorithm might work in the ICU at a hospital, but it doesn't really work well as public health guidance.
Another issue with those at-home tests, unreported cases.
Obviously, if I would have tested at the doctor's office or at the hospital, the health department would have been notified.
The Biden administration has purchased 500 million free at-home test kits to be delivered to Americans, but the website to request those kits won't be up and running until later this month.
We'll continue to do more and more to increase access to testing, given the extreme demand.
Chicago's public school teachers voted to switch to remote learning, prompting officials to cancel classes.
We don't feel safe. We don't feel that the students are safe.
While in Massachusetts, some classrooms may see these four-legged friends sniffing out COVID.
Whether it's the Omicron, whether it's the Delta, our dogs will hit on it.
Wednesday, a CDC advisory panel voted to greenlight Pfizer's booster shot for children ages 12 to 15. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Over the past 2 days, Guam has seen close to 400 COVID cases. Today's public health press briefing shed light on what could be the reason for such a high number, as well as an update on booster eligibility for kids 12 to 15. Daniel Perez reports.
We were getting really low in November, late November. Here's Thanksgiving. We see a slight bump after Thanksgiving that weekend. And then we remain low until we reach Christmas. And it's readily visible, the spike in cases, particularly after that weekend of Christmas weekend. And then, of course, now after New Year's, we're seeing a definite spike.
Territorial epidemiologist Dr. Ann Pabutsky breaking down the recent spike in cases. Dr. Pabutsky added that the island is now seeing 200 cases a day, led by the 18 to 39 age group. When asked if Omicron or the holiday gatherings are the driving force,
it's possible that it's both, but we don't have any evidence of Omicron. The last samples we just got in were up through December 16th, and they were all sublineages of Delta. From the samples we sent. And so it could be both, but we don't have any evidence that Omicron is here yet. We just are definitely seeing after Christmas spike and after holiday spike.
With the sudden spike in cases, the FDA and CDC gave the green light to administer boosters to kids 12 to 15 years of age, which Guam will implement today, according to Public Health Interim Chief Medical Officer Dr. Bob Leon Guerrero. Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
Sooner or later, Omicron will reach the island. In preparation, Public Health has ordered the COVID antiviral pill, so when Omicron does arrive, residents can be treated right away. Public Health Interim Chief Medical Officer Dr. Bob Leon Guerrero.
We haven't received it yet, and when we're going to receive, I'm not too sure. So the reason why we're going to get that is to try to treat those people so that they who do get sick won't get hospitalized, will limit their severity of the disease, so they hopefully won't, like I said, have to be hospitalized or die from the disease. So when we find out roughly how we're going to do, how much we're going to get, then we'll figure out how we're going to dispense it.
Dr. Leon Guerrero added that the COVID pill is more effective against Omicron than the monoclonal antibody therapy. He added that since most patients receiving the MAB treatment are still responding to it, most infections are the Delta variant. A significant increase in COVID cases has prompted the Navy to reinstate the mandatory mask policy on base. In a news release, Joint Region Marianas Command said, quote, "In order to preserve force health protection and community public health, all personnel on Department of Defense installations are required to wear a face covering in congregate settings, whether indoors or outdoors, when social distancing cannot be maintained." The mask mandate also applies to dependents and other civilians while on base. JRMC Commander Admiral Benjamin Nicholson said after 2 months of a downward trend, military installations are now seeing a rapid increase in cases. Admiral Nicholson also encourages military personnel to get vaccinated. In regional news, a shocking revelation that CNMI Governor Ralph Torres wanted a closed-door meeting with the CNMI Chief Justice Alexandro Castro after his lawsuit with the Legislative Committee seeking his impeachment. Tomas Menglonia has the details.
The governor did request for a private meeting with Chief Justice Castro. They call it in legal terms ex parte, which is highly unethical.
The line between the three branches of government being redrawn, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres wanting a closed-door meeting with the High Court. It comes as he filed a lawsuit against the Legislative Investigating Committee after they held him in contempt for failing to appear before them.
Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to release any documents at this time related to that. I may later on do so. It depends, but the letter does exist. The communication does exist. And he was advised by the court to serve us that request. So that's how we found out about it.
The House will vote on 6 articles of impeachment next Wednesday at 10 a.m. If 2/3 vote in favor of it, it moves to the Senate for a trial, where the Chief Justice could preside over it.
We hope the senators keep an open mind and not pass judgment before they see a single shred of evidence. And that's all we can hope for.
In a statement last night, Governor Ralph Torres says he's done nothing wrong and describes some Democratic lawmakers as bullies who misinformed the public.
We haven't bullied anybody. If anything, he has tried to bully the legislature, like I said, by trying to dictate how he wants his investigation to be conducted. And that speaks highly to his character as a person.
Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News.
The Guam Department of Education is working to resolve internet access issues for some 3,600 students who attend classes remotely. The contract with IT&E for MiFi devices, which are wireless routers that act as a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, ended on December 31st, 2021. This leaves online students who rely on MiFi devices without access to the internet. According to GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez, a procurement was issued in July 2021, but was protested against in November last year. He told KUAM's The Link Wednesday that they are working on a short-term measure to try to get those devices continued while trying to find a solution to the protests.
Working with those families at the school level and working with our team to see how we can at least provide a short-term extension of the current services, while we go through this procurement process.
Fernandez noted that the award of the much larger contract of the procurement was supposed to be in place by the end of the year, but the contract is what caused the interruption. KUAM has confirmed that Selba Balta has resigned as executive manager for the Guam Regional Transit Authority effective January 1st. Balta told KUAM it's due to health reasons, but says he is more than willing to return once they are addressed. He adds, quote, "I am passionate in trying to provide the most vulnerable people of Guam with safe and reliable transportation that they can rely on to find and maintain their jobs, seek higher education that will lead them from poverty to prosperity, and certainly for health care." Since taking the helm of GRTA 3 years ago, Balta and his team have accomplished some huge milestones, to include the Amble app, which allowed riders the freedom to request trips from a smartphone and obtain several grants to help enhance GRTA services. Once again, we invite you to voice your view across our social media pages on our daily question. Today we asked, do you support the federal law making cockfighting illegal? Why or why not? We'll share responses on The Link tomorrow morning. Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
It's beautiful.
It is, right, baby?
Dad, isn't that where we usually stop for gas?
It's where we used to stop, but not anymore.
But isn't that the place with the milkshakes?
Okay, all right, let's go.
Good job, kids.
Take your adventure further in the first ever Santa Fe Hybrid.
And instant prizes from Foot Locker and Burger King. Win the best-selling 2021 Toyota Corolla LE, the crossover SUV 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE, and the dynamic luxury SUV 2021 BMW X1. The more you shop, the more chance to win. In the Micronesia Malls, shop and win.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance.
Count on us for life.
Let us know what's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Welcome back to the show. Orlando Hadley was sentenced today in Superior Court for breaking into his ex-girlfriend's home and yelling to fight her partner. Here's our next story.
6 years. That's how much 37-year-old Orlando Hadley will serve for breaking into the home of his ex-girlfriend and threatening to fight her boyfriend. Defense counsel William Bischoff asked for the minimum sentence of 5 years, arguing that no actual violence occurred and that Hadley exited the home when the woman pushed him out. Quote, "He had a key to the victim's bedroom. He thought he was welcome there, and when he opened the bedroom and saw her new boyfriend, he was shocked." Hadley apologized for his actions and asked for the court to show mercy and leniency. However, prosecuting attorney Jeremiah Luther argued that the court had shown Hadley mercy when he was offered a furlough in a 2017 case for sexual assault against a minor. There was a warrant for Hadley's arrest during the time of the incident for failing to turn himself in for the previous case. Quote, "Repeatedly, this defendant has tried to manipulate the system and asked for mercy and leniency and has continued to abuse it. This is not some lovesick, harmless individual," said Luther. He asked for the maximum sentence of 10 years to run consecutively with the 2017 case. Judge Arthur Barcenas noted that the court had struggled with separating the current case and the severity of the 2017 case, however noted that his failure to obey court orders and self-surrender was an aggravating factor to consider. The court also noted that he attempted to obstruct the justice system when he gave officers a false name during his arrest. Altogether, he will serve 6 years in prison for burglary, criminal trespass, and harassment. He will be eligible for parole after 5 years and will serve a special parole term of 3 years. The sentence will run concurrent to his 2017 case with credit for time served.
All island residents can expect a knock at the door and a series of questions from public health officials beginning next month. KUAM's Joan Uggan-Charfris has this report.
The Department of Public Health and Social Services, the Research Corporation of the University of Guam, in partnership with the Mayor's Council of Guam, will be conducting a health disparity survey starting in February. According to Dr. Ann Pobutsky, a territorial epidemiologist for public health who appeared before the MCOG on Wednesday, the survey is to be conducted island-wide, from small to big populations within villages, which is anticipated to go on for the whole year. For example, it will start with Humatek and conclude in Dededo. The purpose of the survey is to locate all who are high risk and identify the hard-to-reach populations. Dr. Pobutsky stated, quote, "Available data shows that the COVID-19 pandemic affects vulnerable or high-risk populations on Guam like Chukis, Pohnpeians, other Micronesians, as well as our low-income Chamorro and Filipino population are getting and dying of COVID," end quote. Public health needs assistance from village mayors in identifying island-wide geographic areas, places, apartment buildings, and homes with at-risk populations. During a presentation to the MCOG at their monthly meeting, Dr. Pobutsky shared what residents can expect to see in the survey, which includes an incentive.
We're not using any names on the survey. It is anonymous. We do ask for a household contact for each household so that we can provide them with gas coupons. If they complete the surveys, they'll get $20 worth of gas coupons. And we're asking about the age, sex, and ethnicity of all household members, school, job, employment, and we're asking what happened during 2020 and 2021. We also want to see how families have coped during COVID, especially if they're at-risk populations. Did they get?
The survey is funded by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC. Dr. Pobutsky noted all U.S. states are getting health disparity grants because their findings show ethnic minorities on the mainland and disproportionate populations are more likely to get sick and die from COVID-19. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Joan Uggan-Charfris.
It's one of the first official signs that this is an election year. The Guam Election Commission announced that candidate packets will be available starting Friday, January 7th. Interested parties are asked to fill out a request form for an electronic candidate packet, which will be sent by email and will include all the necessary information and forms. Those who prefer a hard copy, packets can be picked up at the new GEC offices on the second floor of the OCA building in Tamuning. The commission will also conduct candidate seminars twice a month from January through June. Potential office seekers and their campaign treasurers are encouraged to attend. Seating will be limited. Call the GEC at 671-477-9791 to reserve a space. Aptim Construction JV LLC out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana was recently awarded a $38.7 million contract with Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command Pacific. The contract, which is funded by the government of Japan as part of the international agreement between the U.S. and Japan, is for the construction of a police station at Marine Corps Base Camp Bloss. The 20,000 square foot police station includes space for operations, training, and the Criminal Investigation Division. It will also include administrative and waiting areas, customer service and report writing areas, interrogation rooms with adjacent viewing rooms, and evidence vaults. Dispatch centers for medical, fire, and security will also be part of the police station. Work is expected to be completed in March of 2024. January is National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month and National Stalking Awareness Month. The island is invited to a series of events that will raise awareness and education on the threats that are often hidden in the shadows of society.
It's the start of a new year, a time to take action, and most importantly, become more educated and aware of the threats that have hidden within society for centuries. This January marks the 12th annual National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and the Office of the Attorney General, along with several other community partners, are working on educating individuals on identifying and responding to human trafficking. Attorney General Levin Camacho explains how their office focuses on what's known as the 3 Ps.
Prevention of crime, the protection of victims, and the prosecution of criminals when warranted. So whether we're talking about human trafficking, whether we're talking about stalking, we have law enforcement component, we have our victim service providers who are there to assist victims of crime, and we also have outreach.
The community is invited to a series of events that will be occurring throughout the month of January that will raise awareness on the issue. A virtual proclamation signing and legislative resolution will be held this Friday at 10:30 a.m. The Zoom link can be accessed at guamcoalition.org. Guam Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Family Violence Executive Director Cynthia Cabot.
We really don't have the statistics to show that it occurs, but we know it is in our community, and I think that lends itself into the importance of raising awareness.
The GCASAFV will also host an outreach event at the Micronesia Mall on January 22nd at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. According to the U.S. Department of State, trafficking in persons, also known as modern slavery or human trafficking, includes both forced labor and sex trafficking. AG Camacho says an issue that doesn't get enough attention is labor trafficking.
And we've seen both in Guam and also with our neighbors to the north, a resurgence of this type of thing where you're bringing in particular foreign laborers, and then you're potentially holding their immigration documents, you're not giving them pay, or you're deducting wages from them for things such as rent. So we just need to make sure that people are aware of the resources.
For more information on the resources and agencies available for victims, visit the online directory at pacificregionresources.org. Visit oag.guam.org/live or contact the hotline at 671-475-0400.
There's help out there. There are a lot of folks that are willing and able to assist.
Stay with us. Coming up next on KUAM News, sports with Dave Delgado, and still to come, your Cold Stone Creamery birthday shout-outs. Keep it here to KUAM.
Alpha Day! As we look ahead to a brighter tomorrow, Matson's commitment to Guam and Micronesia remains stronger than ever. While the world around us is ever-changing, what remains unchanged is our commitment to you, our customers, and the island communities we serve. Shipping is what we do best, and serving our community is at the heart of everything we do. But we don't do it alone. This is why we support organizations that make caring for the people and the environment a top priority. We know that many count on Matson's lifeline services in the Pacific, and that's why we continue to work hard to ensure that our shipments remain on time all the time. Matson recently added another Aloha-class vessel to our schedule. We now have 2 of Matson's largest and fastest ships serving Guam from the U.S. West Coast and Hawaii. With our new state-of-the-art vessels, we stand ready to support the region's economic recovery. Thank you for the privilege of serving you for the last 25 years, and you can count on Matson to be here for the next 25 years and beyond.
My 2 for $6 double bacon breakfast sandwiches have freshly cracked fried eggs with bacon crumbles cooked right in. And you can get them all day and night, and day and night. Only at Jack in the Box.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist. Over 20 years of experience.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Players hitting the field in this weekend's Rising Stars football game are excited to be suiting back up. The high school football showdown kicks off Sunday, January 9th at the GW Field.
Unfortunately, due to COVID, we didn't have the opportunity for these boys to play the last couple of years, so this is a perfect opportunity for them to come out and show their skill set and what they're made of with their true peers. I know some of the guys, they played varsity football, but again, this is an opportunity to play with their true peers, which hopefully will help their confidence and instill into